Hello, and in this video, I am going to talk about the insurance needs for your home care agency. I'm going to go over what the different insurances that you need and which ones are optimal. And this is Mila, my baby girl. She is a Aussie doodle. A lot of you have been asking to see her. So yeah, this is Mila. My name is Scott. If you don't already know me, I own and operate a home care agency based in Irvine, California, and it's called Golden Age Companions. We have been in business since 2011, and I also have founded a company called Home Care Agency Blueprint, which is designed to help you start, scale, and grow your very own home care agency. So jumping in the video today, I would like to just go over this lesson on insurances for your home care business. So let's get started. Alrighty, so jumping in here on the insurances that you need for your home care agency, I'm going to go over the essential insurances, what they are, what they mean, and we'll dive in here. So for general liability insurance, this insurance couples generally with the professional liability. Those are kind of like one and the same. They are separate types of insurances. However, most insurance companies will insure you under one policy that has general liability and professional liability bundled in the same policy, but they are technically separate. So what is general liability insurance? That protects any claims against bodily injury, property damage, medical expenses. So for example, that's a caregiver accidentally breaks a valuable item in a client's home. And then professional liability, and by the way, errors and omissions, that's separate, so I'll get that in a second. But professional liability insurance, that covers against the business that has any like professional errors, negligence, or failure to perform professional duties. The example here is a client alleges harm due to caregiver's failure to administer medication as prescribed. So this would be the example here is really not California based, because in California you must have a medtech license, and if you're a non-medical home care agency, you can only do medication reminders. But this is just, I'm just kind of putting that disclaimer out there, but this is the basic example just so you know what that means. But basically it could be anything, like if a caregiver is accusing a caregiver failure to do something on the job. In this example, it's a medication. But yeah, that would be more like a home health aid in that example. And then errors and omissions, that's always an add-on. You want to ask your insurance company about that. By the way, if you do end up becoming a student with my home care agency blueprint program, we help you get connected with the proper insurances, and we also assist you in contracting the insurances and making sure that the paperwork is filled out properly, and help you decide on what you need and what you do not need. And we'll explain the differences as well in more detail. So also, if you haven't already, please like this video and subscribe to my channel. And then I also have a booking link below to book a call with me if you're interested in starting up your own home care agency. So that is in the description. And then if there's any questions you have, please leave a comment below and I will get to those. And if there's any suggestions too on other videos you'd like me to do, please also leave a comment as well. The next thing is workers' compensation. That is, workers' compensation basically provides benefits to employees who get injured or they're sick because of a work-related cause. This covers medical care, rehab, and lost wages. Example here is caregiver suffers a back injury while assisting a client. Disclaimer on workers' comp coming from experience is that you want to be sure that you have proper staffing in place, meaning your office manager is monitoring your caregivers closely, because there's also workers' compensation fraud. So, meaning a caregiver can make up a situation. They might have had a previous injury, and now they're saying that they have a problem with their back and they're blaming your agency. It does happen. If you don't already know me, I am transparent. I'm open. I'm an open book. I never like to sugarcoat this business. So that's just the reality of it. It doesn't happen all the time. So it's not like I'm trying to play this scare tactic. I'm just saying that that's just the reality of the business. Now, if you have proper management in place, and that's what we show you in our home care agency blueprint program, to be sure that you can mitigate these things, because I learned over time, there's just so many things that you can adjust to avoid having a caregiver go off the rails and just make up something, and or say there's cameras in the home, or there's just safeguards in place where you avoid that type of fraud. Now, the next one is, the other thing I'll say about on pricing for workers' comp and professional general liability. So professional and general liability, that is paid generally by the head count of how many employees you have on staff. You update that either every month or every quarter, or when your employee count technically changes. That's when you have the increased head count on payroll. That is where you pay more, basically by the head count. So that can be adjusted by the month or the quarter. And then the workers' compensation, there's pay-as-you-go plans. So those are basically, you pay a percentage of your payroll. So for example, it could be 6, 7, 8% of your payroll is going to workers' comp, and you get billed for that. That's built into your payroll, which is really nice. So the way we set it up with our blueprint program, when we set you guys up, our students, is we have softwares that integrate with each other, where it's all integrated and you do not have to worry about paying that separate. So the workers' comp is built in there, and then keep in mind that does not include payroll taxes. You want to add at least another 12 to 15% on top of that for payroll taxes, and that does get built in because you have W-2 payroll, and that's already paid out on its own. Now, the next thing is non-owned auto liability insurance. So the purpose for this covers claims for accidents involving vehicles that are not owned by your agency, but has to be used for business purposes, such as caregivers using their cars to visit clients. This is optional. We've never had this for my business. It just hasn't been necessary. In my opinion, it hasn't been, but that's something like if you want super extra coverage, you can consider that. The other one is abuse and molestation insurance. This offers protection if an employee is accused of abusing a client. This is really critical because you're dealing with the vulnerable nature of clients being elderly or on hospice, or maybe they can't speak, they can't hear well, whatever the case is. So example here is a caregiver is accused of physical abuse by a client's family member. So that's something, and that's usually an add-on. This add-on can go in with the company that does the professional and general liability insurance. Data breach and cyber liability. This is, protects against any data breaches and cyber attacks that may compromise your client or employee information. Example, sensitive client data is stolen during a cyber attack with your agency's network. That is also an add-on with professional and general liability that can build into that. And same thing with business owner's policy. So this is kind of self-explanatory. On how much I feel like this is necessary, I think it depends on how big your company is. As long as you have a super secure network and you're not just taking in sensitive information on all these different laptops out in public networks, then that could have a high risk. But if you're processing invoicing and payroll and whatnot in-house in the office, then you should be fine. But if you just want the extra coverage, this stuff is actually fairly cheap. Business owner's policy. This is a package that combines general liability insurance, property insurance, and business interruption insurance with a cost savings. So that is, really this is covering you as the owner. There's like extra protections. So the example here is like fire damages to your office space, and then you have to cover the repair costs and lost income during the repairs. So this is kind of like extra coverage. Now, considerations for selecting insurance. You want to do a risk assessment, conduct a risk assessment, depending on how large your home care business is. And that's how I would do it, like how many clients and caregivers you have. So just do your own assessment. You can even call your insurance agent and ask them, like we can connect you with our firm that we use, and they're really good about working with home care agencies. So, we can even do a risk assessment for you as well, given that you're one of our students. Customization, work with an insurance provider that's experienced in the home care industry. The one that we use, that's all they do is healthcare companies. So whether you use us or not, definitely use a insurance company that can customize the package according to your home care agency. And then regulatory requirements. This is pretty like basic, just make sure that your insurance meets all the state and federal guidelines for home care agencies, and your licensing, of course, for your state license. And then financial limits, choose a coverage limit that reflects the potential financial impact of claims against your business. This is essentially just making sure that you have proper coverage in place where it will actually cover if there's really a high risk situation, that there's enough, basically financial limit that'll be able to cover that. So that's what I have for you guys today on this document for getting insurance for your home care agency. Hopefully it was beneficial. Alrighty, so that's what I have for you today for insurance coverages for your home care agency. Mila wanted to be on my desk today for the video. I was petting her half the time, but yeah, this is Mila. She's 2 years old and she is my everything. She's the best dog ever. She's always here on the floor nearby me when I'm doing my videos. So I wanted to show you guys her today. But yeah, thank you for coming to my video. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel and like this video. I'll see you guys on the next video. And then also, if you are interested in starting up your own home care business, there is a link in the description below for you to be able to book a call direct with me. And we also have weekly live webinars. So those are FAQ live webinars, and there's a link in the description there as well. All right, see you guys in the next one.